I'm Leon Gerari. Welcome to Business PNG, your weekly look at business news and updates. Product placement or product endorsement is, according to the European Union, any form of audiovisual commercial communication consisting of the inclusion of a reference to a product, a service, or the trademark thereof, so that it is featured within a program. Product placement stands out as a marketing strategy because it is imperative to attach the utmost importance to the context and environment within which the product is displayed or used.
Hi kids, it's time for Kool-Aid a Go-Go.
Thank you, dear.
Hey, the last one. You better get another pack.
Okay.
Thank you.
As the consumer market becomes more fragmented, marketers in recent decades turn to a variety of communication channels in their efforts to reach customers. One of the emerging channels that have been exploited frequently in recent years is product placement. Product placement is not a new concept in the field of promotion. It has been defined as a paid product message aimed at influencing movie or TV audiences via the planned and unobtrusive entry of a branded product into a movie or TV program or sport. 2/3 of all advertisers use product placement of some type. About 80% of product placement occurs in network and cable television programming. Technological innovations such as the digital video recorder have increased the need for product placement. Virtually all viewers with a DVR will skip traditional television commercials. Advertisers hope to gain exposure by having their products blend into the story, so it doesn't look like a commercial. Product placements are often initiated through an agreement between a product manufacturer and the media company in which the media company receives economic benefit. A company will often pay a fee to have their product used, displayed, or significantly featured in a movie or show. For example, Coca-Cola could pay a given fee to have the title character drinking a Coke instead of a Pepsi beverage, or Toyota might pay to have one of the characters drive their newest automobile. Product placement stands out as a marketing strategy because it is imperative to attach the utmost importance to the context and environment within which the product is displayed or used. Product placement is an investment for brands trying to reach a targeted audience, and there are strong reasons for investors to expect that in film, TV show, or with sports teams, it will increase consumer awareness of a particular brand. A big-budget feature film that has expectations of grossing millions may attract many commercial interests. However, the film studio must also analyze if a product fits with the image of the film. A high-profile star may draw more attention to a product, and therefore, in many cases, this becomes a separate point of negotiation within his or her contract. In most cases, no payment is made for product exposure, and there is no promise of marketing support when recognizable consumer brands appear in movies. A film or television production simply needs items for scenes, so a movie's property master, who is responsible for gathering objects that will be seen in the film, contacts one or more of the dozens of product placement middlemen agencies, or in some cases companies directly for branded merchandise. An example is that of the hit EMTV singing competition Vocal Fusion, which has as a major sponsor Coca-Cola PNG Limited. The judges have next to them Coca-Cola bottles used as props, with the label clearly shown. And even if they don't drink or touch the bottles, the fact that the product is strategically placed and broadcasted to an audience of over 1 million people will most likely cause viewers to go out and buy a bottle of Coke. This demonstrates the power of visual merchandising. Companies with the leverage to take product endorsement a step further use the technique of purchasing naming rights. In the private sector, naming rights are a financial transaction and form of advertising, whereby a corporation or other entity purchases the right to name a facility or event, typically for a defined period of time. An example of this form of product endorsement is the mini MTV show Nescafe Moments. The mini show accompanies the other MTV show Vocal Fusion and features the contestants behind the scenes rehearsing or generally having fun. Coffee is a beverage associated with taking a break or rest, and Nescafe is known for its coffee products. Therefore, Nescafe Moments is taking a break, kicking back and enjoying a coffee, just like the contestants in Nescafe Moments. After the break, we look at a case study of product endorsement in sports. Don't go anywhere. Sporting entities in Papua New Guinea are prone to use product placement and endorsement, often as audiences in the country respond quite well to the marketing technique. One popular example of product endorsement in sports is that of the PNG Hunters. Naming rights is typically found in the realm of sports, with teams such as the Egmak Gurias, Trukai Harlequins, and the Stop and Shop Vipers. The companies that sponsor said teams often have their brand logos and names plastered on the team's jerseys, supporter jerseys, billboards, and even at the team's home fields. The most recent and most prominent would have to be that of the PNG Hunters, sponsored by the SP Brewery Limited. The country's leading manufacturer announced the purchasing of the naming rights late last year in time for the Hunters' first season in the Intra Super Cup.
We've been working on this for about 4 years now. We saw an opportunity to take our sponsorship of rugby league to another level, and we began working with the Queensland Rugby League and with Papua New Guinea PNG RFL, and it's taken that amount of time to be able to secure it all. We are actually the naming rights sponsors, so it's officially the SP Hunters, and we were able to work with the Queensland Rugby League, Papua New Guinea Rugby League, the Papua New Guinea government, to put a package together to ensure that PNG has a team in that competition. We're quite proud of that. We wouldn't have been able to do it without a lot of teamwork, and as I say to everybody, money's one thing, but teamwork of people working together for a common goal is another one, and it's, in this case, I think, an example of what can happen.
Product placements can be more effective than advertisements. In the case of the SP Hunters, rugby is a pastime that goes hand in hand with beer, and so the brand.
And it's quite simple, really. Beer and football go together all over the world, so it's nothing really new from that point of view. But Papua New Guinea, the Hunters and SP, it forms a part of the whole brand proposition of SP Lager. SP Lager is our beer, this is our team, and so the whole idea is that you attach your brand name to a very successful sporting concept.
One way to measure product placement is to measure the economic effects it has on a certain product, or in particular, how product placement affects the stock price of a company. According to Mr. Joyce, the PNG Hunters are the biggest thing to happen for our game and our beer.
I think there's two benefits. There's one to the brand, which reinforces the brand as Papua New Guinea's brand of beer, and that's something that we've always invested in. And secondly, I think there's a benefit to the company as a whole, to the corporate image of the South Pacific Brewery as an innovative sponsor who gets involved with things ahead of the curve to make sure that there's a move forward in general.
Acquiring name rights is an effective form of brand positioning, simply because the product or company will permanently be associated with the entertainment or sports content.
Naming rights are the amount of money that you give to an owner of a brand. The PNG RFL is the owner of the Hunters, but naming rights is the amount of money that you pay to actually attach your name to that property. So it becomes the SP Hunters.
There are of course disadvantages with the increase in use of product placement. Analysts fear that consumers will develop ad blindness, becoming so accustomed to advertisements that they stop noticing them. When an advertisement is repeated too often, people adapt to their presence and filter them out of their vision. As well as this, poor use of product placement can compromise the integrity of a storyline. The latest James Bond movie, Casino Royale, has been criticized in the movie for being too much like one long commercial. Although Casino Royale featured less than half the number of product placements used in other movies, released at the same time, something about the ways the products were featured led to ad resentment and the audience to feel like they were being cheated, as the whole movie felt like one long advertisement.
I think the right associations do. I think you know, you need to have a look at your brand, the architecture of that brand, what the brand stands for, what its consumer proposition is, and then you need to look carefully at the sporting activity. We moved away from some things because they weren't well organised or there was bad publicity around them, and you need to be careful. You know, the alcohol category is something that you need to see how that's targeted to people. But I think the right activity and the right brand and the right team around that to activate that sponsorship is a fantastic opportunity. We call them brand assets if they're working well.
You're watching Business PNG. More after the break. Stay with us. And now we bring you some business news before we wrap things up. The 4th Papua New Guinea Advantage Conference 2014 began today at the Gateway Hotel here in Port Moresby. The unique annual event dedicated entirely to the promotion of business and investment in Papua New Guinea, so PNG's business elite all gathered at the event. With the PNG LNG project now underway, PNG has now joined the small family of gas-producing nations. This year, major emphasis is put on infrastructure, with Day 2 tomorrow, the Infrastructure Summit, dedicated to the role of the private sector can play in its development. For more up-to-date news from the conference, follow Business PNG on Twitter and join the conversation using #BusinessPNG. Bank South Pacific has announced strong growth with its results for the second quarter of this year. The bank has attributed the challenges to be a result of the Bank of Papua New Guinea's new foreign exchange trading ban. BSP's Chief Executive Officer Robin Fling and his Deputy and Financial Controller Johnson Carlo made this known while releasing the bank's second quarter results in Port Moresby. Johnson said the bank's profit after tax was 126 million kina, which was a 10 million kina decrease from the first quarter, but up to 13 million kina or 11.2% from the corresponding period last year. He said net interest income and channel income showed expected growth, but a reduced contribution from its foreign exchange income driven by the central bank's new foreign exchange trading ban. He said there are to be improvements in the balance sheets, with the bank recovering its lending market share in PNG to 48%. He also said there is growth in customer numbers across its operations, including Fiji and the Solomon Islands, with PNG being the main driver. Its FPOS users total 13,370, while its figures for ATMs and branches include BSP Rural in PNG are stable. Fleming said he was pleased with the second quarter results and was looking ahead that 2014 would be a challenge, given that the bank's foreign exchange earnings had been reduced.
To go through and finalise and agree on the results, 264 million kina after tax, which is an increase of around about 60 million kina on the first half of 2013. There's a number of factors which contributed. One was a solid income growth, our continuation to increase our lending portfolio. There was strong increase in our foreign exchange profit as well. And what we've highlighted in market announcements and other public announcements is that the contribution from foreign exchange will start to reduce from the 1st of June following the Bank of PNG's introduction of a certain ban on foreign exchange transactions. But that said, we remain confident that we're able to use our market approach to be able to increase our lending, continue our financial inclusion, get more transactional activity with our retail base, and also look at other opportunities to be able to ensure that our costs are kept relatively static and plateaued.
And that's the end of our show. For more information, be sure to visit EMTV online. That's mtv.com.pg/business. Or to join the conversation, follow us on Twitter at BusinessPNG using the #BusinessPNG. Until next week, have a pleasant evening. I'm Leanne Jarari, and this is Business PNG.